I am Decibel, and with me over here we have Pixel as well.
Hey,
Today we're gonna talk about happiness and finding meaning, and we have aptly named this episode the Happiness 101 Guide. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we often find ourselves chasing after happiness. But what is happiness and where does it truly come from? Is it merely a fleeting emotion, or is there something deeper that gives our lives meaning? So, in order to think about that, I'm gonna ask this question to Pixel, what he thinks about happiness.
that's a great question. But for me, happiness is about finding joy in the simple things, in our everyday moments.
Yeah.
It's about spending time with loved ones, pursuing my passions. I love to play the guitar, and for me, sometimes that's happiness. Sometimes I like to write, and that could be a form of happiness. But essentially, for me, it's about being grateful with what I have. It's also about a state of mind to me. It's about how you choose to perceive the world and what's happening around you. In no way am I saying that we need to be delusional or not know what's going on, but it's very important to be thankful for each and every second. Because what we might have might seem less to us, but to someone else it might seem like the entire ocean. So we need to be self aware and happy with what we have. And that can only happen, or that can mediate the feeling when you think about happiness as a positive impact on society at large. I feel like we're all connected with each other, and if we help everyone else and each other, happiness will be an output all the time. For me, happiness or describing happiness is not an easy answer. It's not. There's no one way to go about it. Anything and everything can be happiness. What do you think, Decibel?
No, that's great. I really appreciate your thoughts on this. I think listening to you, it feels that, a common theme emerges. Yeah, and what I feel is happiness is not just about personal pleasure or material possessions, even. It's actually much more complex and more meaningful than that. It's actually about finding meaning in our lives and connecting that with something much greater than ourselves. Everyone has their own way, everyone has their own style. It could be, spirituality, it could be connecting with a mentor. It has multiple facets to it. But research has shown that people who live meaningful lives are happier and more fulfilled, actually.
I can see that.
They have a sense of purpose that goes beyond their own personal desires, and this gives them a deeper sense of satisfaction and well being. So, with that, I'm gonna actually ask you, we're talking about happiness, and how do you think we can link happiness with meaning of life?
Meaning of life, yeah, that's a great question. I feel like I've been thinking about meaning of my life for the past few years now, and I feel like I'm finally getting closer. But the best part is every time I feel that I'm closer, a minute later I feel that I'm too far away from finding that answer. So depending on which moment you catch me, the answer can change. But for me right now, meaning of life is about feeling connected. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier. All of us are connected to each other, be it human beings, be it the world, be it what's going on around us, be it animals. I think everybody has a specific task that they need to achieve in this world. And it's all about living together in the best, most peaceful way together. It can be through our relationships. Yes, it can be through work. Yes, spirituality can be important here to find that meaning of life. But it's also about how do you find that right sense of direction to you. It's also about understanding that life is short. Life is not long, and if you prioritize things that you enjoy doing, you can find self-fulfillment in your work and in your relationships. So I feel like we need to look at happiness as a whole and then double click and figure out what meaning of life is, as opposed to looking at meaning of life and then finding happiness in that.
No, that's a great answer. Really appreciate that. Just to sort of build upon on that, as we continue on our journey through life, let us remember that true happiness comes not from what we have actually, but from who we are and how we choose to live. And it kind of touches upon what you're saying, right? And by finding meaning in our lives and embracing the moments that truly matter, we can experience a deeper and more lasting sense of joy. And I was actually reading this book called Ikigai, and it's about how to find meaning of life. And the author talks about a state which is called a flow, in which what you want to do and what is required is actually it's hand in hand. So I think that also connects from that. And because in the end it is not the pursuit of happiness that defines it, but it's the pursuit of meaning that gives our lives the purpose. And happiness is a state of being that transcends mere fleeting moments of joy. And according to me, it is a profound and enduring sense of commitment, a deep-seated satisfaction. And those are my closing thoughts. I don't know if you have any.
My last point is, I know we've talked about happiness and meaning of life from a very higher order, broad way, but from a tactical lens, the more I read a lot about data, and I consider myself a data nerd at times. And if I were to get a little more tactical here, the way that I view happiness now is in a form of decision trees. So for example, every decision you make will lead to two options. You either do it or you don't. Once you take that decision, it will lead to two options again. You do a follow-up decision or you don't. And right now, how I focus on my life is I try to be thankful of all the decisions that I've taken, as opposed to focusing on what I could have done. I completely agree there's an opportunity cost for everything we do, but if we focus on the action that we take and we try to improve our circumstances from that option, then you will be happy because you're focusing on the present as opposed to a future or a present that you could possibly have, but you can only dream about it. That's it.
Oh, very well said. With that, we come to our conclusion. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned.
Thank you.